Chapter 2 on Red Dead Redemption 2 is where the game won me over on my first playthrough. Right before the story starts and Micah comes along, something happens. The world opens up. I'm gonna tell you how I stopped playing the story of Red Dead Redemption 2 for months after I bought it, because I was too busy with something else, exploring places like Valentine, Rhodes, the Plains, peeking into the secrets of Saint Denis, and hunting down different treasures, full of memorable missions and some of the best missions in the game. In my first run through, which I did this year, I have to be honest, I almost stopped playing this game because of how boring the snowy intro was for me. It was like a long movie moving at a snail's pace with some mention of a good story later, and to be honest, I wasn't having that much fun. But then, after a while, they cut me loose. We come down from the mountain, out of the snow, and enter my favorite part of the game.
Got off the mountain and rode east into some pretty enough country called the Heartlands. Ain't been this far east in many a year. Dutch seems a little better. His eyes are sparkling once more, and I can see he's thinking a little clearer. I think we all feel a little happier, in spite of Blackwater and that whole mess.
Chapter 2 is like being released to recess after a few hours in school, and I have a little story to tell about my first day playing Chapter 2, how hunting a deer for Pearson led me to explore the entire map and introduced me to tons of different aspects of the game, all because I walked outside the camp and saw a deer and started shooting at it. This is that story. I found the cook Pearson. I noticed he could craft me some satchels and other gear. I also noticed he needed tools for this. So I went out of the camp to hunt. And right then, I found a deer. Thinking that I was just gonna kill the deer and move on, I found the star system. And my deer only had 1 star. This 1-star deer would open up the entire game for me. The search for the tools brought me to Valentine. And Valentine made my imagination go wild with what this game actually was capable of. It felt like a living, breathing world with every nook and cranny seething with life. So I went to the general store, but I couldn't find the tools. And I found out you had to do a couple missions for that, which I was absolutely not in the mood for. I wanted to explore. And in my exploration, I found that folks had some valuable items on them. I read to 3-star certain animals you needed certain guns. And I figured better guns would help me rob people. I considered myself lucky to find the gunsmith. Realizing I needed some money to get some guns, I tried to figure out how I could sell the goods that I found off of people, which took me all the way over to the other side of the map. And I found my good friend the Fence in Saint Denis. Initially, I only came across this man to sell my goods back to the people. But the Fence was a man of culture. I found that I was welcomed among the people of Saint Denis, warmly and with open arms. And I welcomed them back. I realized, hey, I'm in the big leagues now. I'm in Saint Denis. I might as well go explore, and in my exploration, I found a violin player. And if things weren't good yet, I was absolutely blown away to find a theater. And I could go to the theater. I could actually purchase tickets and walk in. Theater is one of my favorite things in real life, so to be able to go into an old-time theater like this was just incredible. Not only can you watch, you can heckle the performer, you can be a part of the show. And I found out all of this by trying to hunt a deer. Saint Denis was a great place to explore, but now I had to ride back to the camp, or take the train, and I decided to take the train instead, just to see the beautiful countryside a little bit quicker. This game opened up to me in a way that no other game has ever done since playing World of Warcraft for the first time in 2004. Everything just felt so real and fleshed out, and after days of IRL game time, I decided it was time to revisit the gang back at the camp. And that's when I found there was chores to do. These types of things really irritate me in other games, but this really added to the immersion of the gang, especially when they called me out for not doing anything.
Ben. Me? When did that become my job?
Others are pulling their weight.
Aw, give it a rest, will you?
When Chapter 2 started, I really did not care about the story or the characters at all. I just wanted to explore and do my cowboy thing. But then I started bumping into them at camp, and I wanted to know more about them. The only way I could do that was through missions. And that is when I came across one of my favorite missions. This mission gives so much life with the girls singing on the way to Valentine. It blew my mind when I first played it.
Do you want to head into town? See if we can find anything out.
I'm a girl in Fairyville. Can't be screwed.
Go right
She's
here.
too
It's
damn
quicker.
ill, so I don't
I remember
know
this
that.
moment being so surreal. I have to be honest, I don't play that many story games. So to feel such a huge transformation in both atmosphere and mood really sucked me into the story and what was going on. I couldn't believe it. And we come across a runaway stagecoach and we're confronted for the first time a moral decision. We can either help the man or not help the man get his horse back.
Here you go.
You're a gentleman, sir. A gentleman.
No, not really. I was just trying to impress the women.
Well, anyway, thanks.
I had been to Valentine many times, just exploring, but with the girls and uncle, the town just came alive in a way that I wasn't expecting.
Well, in my youth, I used to be known as the one-shot kid.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask why.
One of the things that makes the story so great is the mystery around the characters. Who was Uncle when he was younger? And if there was anything that I would want to see for a third game, I want to see how Dutch convinced everybody to get together.
Hey!
Who are you?
A friend of hers.
Get out of here, buddy. I paid.
Ain't paid to hit her, you goddamn animal.
For a bunch of outlaws, they seem to have each other's back through thick and thin, and I want to see the story that led to that progression. I think it's easy to get caught up in this game to choose high honor or low honor and stick purely to that, but my first playthrough when I was confronted with Jimmy Brooks, I really didn't know what to do. I thought about killing him. I wasn't sure if I'd let him live, if he was gonna remember me, things were gonna go bad down the line. I didn't know if I killed him that I was gonna get in trouble for it. And these are the types of things that are really special that you can't get back once you've done a playthrough already. But there is something that happened to me that I think people can miss. I was up gaming one night and all of a sudden I woke up at 2 a.m. I had passed out with the game still on. I woke up by the gang's campfire. Pearson, Uncle, and John were there telling stories, sometimes singing, and I never even moved my character. I just let cinematic mode do its thing as I watched and listened. Out of everything that happened, this was by far the most jaw-dropping experience that I had with this game. The way the game keeps on living even without looking, it just keeps on going. And it's almost always a fresh new thing, it rarely repeats. It's incredible. I started to poke around the camp and try to get more interactions like this, and these are some of my favorite.
Cause any more and I will cut your tongue out, you filthy rat.
Oh God, here we go again.
Keep those books full now.
I'm trying.
You sure ain't any other use to us.
Oh, quit dressing up like a lawman. It's absurd.
Well, that's not true. I do know why. They're lazy, good-for-nothing brats. Every last one of them. They're whores with ideas miles above their station. I mean, in my day, it just didn't happen. Talk back to a madam? I'd have been horsewhipped. And I was. Oh, I was horsewhipped. And I'm grateful.
Like the chance to shoot a fella and not feel bad about it.
I played this game at a time in my life where I had just moved, and I didn't know a lot of people. And I think I got a glimpse into how different a movie is from a video game. People often say this video game is like a movie, but I actually think that's somewhat of an insult. You spend so much time with the characters, and they get ingrained in your head. It starts to take on such a different feeling from other games or movies that it's sort of strange. Besides Uncle, I have to say that I'm a big fan of Hosea, and going on the hunting trip with him was incredible. You really get a sense of what it would be like to be taken out to hunt with an uncle or a father in this time period, and having that moment where you're out in the mountains, you're in this beautiful part of the map you've never been to, you're amongst the wildlife, and you come across this gigantic bear. It's a really special moment, even from the perspective of the entire game. And finally, we have the mission of all missions, the main event. After this, it all goes to hell. And that is the Lenny mission. Next to the GTA Acid Trip mission, this mission is incredible for its special effects, but as everyone knows, RDR2 just hits different. The story drives this home to be one of the most memorable and loved missions by the community. I got a kick out of walking around and asking if everyone was Lenny, and I was genuinely surprised when the bar started doing the can. As if this game wasn't alive enough, the moments where you're outside stumbling and pissing is just one of those things that